All right, can I have a motion to open the public meeting of the Holyoke Planning Board?
Motion to open the public meeting.
Second.
By roll call vote, Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Nathan,
Yes.
Gernander,
Yes.
and Kate.
Yes. So let's go first to our decisions and then we can go through business if that is acceptable to the board.
Yep, that's fine.
Let's finish those off. Do we feel comfortable going ahead and voting on the Holyoke Landing modification? Our usual practice would be to wait 2 weeks, but this seems quite straightforward, and I know we have a draft. Is that acceptable?
I think it's a good idea to go ahead and close vote on that and is out of the way.
Jeff, would you mind closing the document so that I can, if we make an edit, I can? Everybody see that okay?
Yes.
Okay.
Wow, not only can I see it, I can see 2 pages of it. Sharon.
She's getting spiffy with it now.
So as I always say, I put this draft together based on, information that I've seen, heard, reviewed, and then basing it on past other similar scenarios of this extension. At the end of the day, it's your document. It's just a draft. I just threw in some of the ideas that were gathered from either current thought or, again, past decision. So, I will say that I know that since this division of land has happened, I don't know if it hasn't made it to our mapping yet because we're just doing the 2022 edits now. So I don't actually have a number yet on what the new number is as far as the second parcel, because obviously it's that second parcel. Project wise, it started on 117.5, but now with division, there's a new parcel for the east, or you could argue rear parcel. So I will try to look into that tomorrow with our assessor to find out what it is. But so there's still some pending that one item, which is just under the location.
Okay.
And then moving on to the decision, again, there are certain elements here that you can assume or take on all, some or none of this. There was a past project where you sought monthly updates. I don't think that's necessary for this one, but I just left it as such and then put a question mark there. So beginning, you may want to say, we'll see you in 6 months. You may want to say nothing. You might want to say a year, maybe just the 18 months or something. But at the end of the day, presumably whatever happens, to Sam's point and, the other solely members of the team, they will reach out to us. They've been really good to work with. Still might just want to see them in 6 months and say, hey, what are you doing? But again, that's up to you. There was other projects I said that you wanted, or that the board sought a more close accounting for where they were or what they were doing. So anyways, again, everything.
Can I ask a question, Jeff?
Sure.
That number 3.
Yep.
Providing the department a project update, that's simply them emailing you. That's not them coming back to us in 6 months.
Well, formally, I guess, for the other project, it was them actually, for the other project, it was them just providing me a monthly letter that said, we're still seeking funding, we're wrapping this up, that kind of thing. It was the housing project under number, that's where that was gathered from. Yeah.
I personally don't think it makes sense to make them come in any more often than 6 months, but it might be nice for you to get an update from them quarterly,
Okay.
more often than 6 months, just to know whether they have any movement on it. Is that?
Sure. I mean, I don't have a problem with that. And I can't imagine, Casey or Sam having an issue with that either. Just, in July 1st, give us an update. December 1st, give us an update. And then 6 months later, we'll, next July of 24, giving us an update. So, you know, you could do it on a 6-month, you know, where you at, if we haven't heard from them before then, because, you know, they could actually find a tenant that seeks to start construction. So,
I guess I'm wondering the difference between what you have here as number 3 and what we have
Yeah.
as number 5, which is them actually coming in and talking to the planning
Right.
board. And
Right,
how
so
often,
go ahead, sorry.
yeah, no, I mean, I'd like them to give you an update more often than they need to come in and talk to us if they've got nothing happening yet.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'm open to whatever people's suggestions are for how often that should be.
I think that's a good idea for quarterly. They can touch with the Jeff to the, and maybe besides 6 month, maybe 1 years from now, 12 month, it should be enough to come see us. I'm okay with that. If any other member have any suggestion.
Sharon, we
So-
might need to define quarterly though, because quarterly at this point could be, you know, knowing that we're already into the first month and, you know, at our first meeting, which is basically you know, almost half of this month is almost over. That's a little bit, I was gonna say a third of this month is already over. We may want to define starting on this day and then 4 months out or 3 months out. And that's something you and I can work on the side unless you want to work it right now. But because arguably quarterly would be, well, I mean, to define that would be March 31st, April 1st.
Can we just
Or
put up
beginning on April 1st every quarter. I mean, there might just be a way to define that.
Yeah, typically, at least for Northampton, the thing in the sign that's being on July, starting on July, October, January, and April. So, however, I think you can just set up the language to say something like the first quarter report should be in by April 15th, and then every 3 months from that point on, or something. However you want to define, however we want to define.
So you're saying you want to start this April 15th?
Well, I just drew up the date because that's why we basically, even though the quarter officially starts on is because yeah, so okay, so this is just what we do in Northampton. So a quarter starts on the April 1st, but if you want to report on the past progress for the past 3 months, you usually give them a 15-day buffer. So April 15th covers from January to March in the previous months. That's just random data I threw. However, makes sense. However you think makes sense. But
I think just
yeah.
honestly, I appreciate that very much, Nathan, but I think we should stick with the first, just as it's easier to think.
yeah,
April 1st,
yeah.
we're gonna get something. July 1st, we're gonna get something.
Right.
It might just be easier than saying, okay, is it the 15th and where does that fall? Where we always know around the
Right.
first of that quarter, we're gonna get it. So, but I
Right.
understand, I mean, I totally agree with you and I appreciate your comments on that. So.
Yep.
And then 1 year right here.
Yes,
To come before us. That seems fair.
The date of approval, July 11th.
I don't know why
July-
that was probably a carryover. I think I was thinking 6 months.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
that's why it
okay.
would have been 6 months, would have been July 11th.
So this is going to be January of 24.
Mhm.
And we have to find a Tuesday.
That'll be the night of your retirement party, Sharon. Let's see, January 9th,
Look at how excited she looks.
January 9th, presumably.
Oops. Okay. Okay. So that one's all set. Were there any other changes? I have.
Can we put in a condition about them providing a landscaping plan? Or is that
Yes.
somehow referenced here?
Well, the thing is, the way the notice of decision currently was listed was that, you know, when it came to the planting, was that they were supposed to plant something adequate back there. But if you're seeking something beyond the general definition of adequate, say, and if you want something more than that, then you should add it as another decision item.
He did say they would be willing to put together a landscape plan for us of what they would do back there, and I think that that would be nice.
Should that be at the 18th, again, the 18th month, I think that even he noted, or are you gonna give them the full 24 months to come back up with something?
What does the board think? The nice thing about 18 months is they're still sort of under our purview at that point. If, yeah, if no progress towards construction has been made. Actually, that's a little vague. If they're not seeking a building permit.
That's a
That would
Jeff.
make more, at least you could tie it to the permit. That would make more sense.
Yeah.
Landscaping plan, if no application for a building permit was sought.
Yeah, if no application for a
Sure.
building permit will be sought before expiration of this extension.
I mean, at that point too, staff will be aware of it because much like the other two buildings, the third building is also has to get us certain things prior to the issuance of any building permit. So we'll kind of know it's coming, you know, what's coming through if there is. So,
Was this part, should we reference phase 3 here?
well, it's phase 3, building 3.
So, okay, so. This is unusual. Okay, so where were we? The applicant shall come back at 18 months with a landscaping plan if no application for a building permit was sought for phase 3, building 3. Anybody?
Yeah, should it say prior to the expiration of this extension?
Where, at the beginning
Just at the end.
or since we always have?
It's
Okay.
always prior to the issuance of any building permit. That's standard language. The applicant shall come back. I mean, it should be, number 6 should read something like, should there be no progress on a, you know, the, within 18 months, the, that it, you know, I think we need to retailer number 6 a little bit.
Is this a tomorrow thing?
Well, it depends if the board wishes to work on it tonight, or does the board trust that we can draft something on it tomorrow? And then Kate, when she comes in to sign this as vice chairperson, can then agree that the language that we've created is satisfies.
That's okay with me. We're asking them to come back with a, we all understand that we're asking them to come back with a landscaping plan at around 18 months if they're not making any progress towards building the building. And the building permit should be the trigger for determining that, and you can figure out how to
Right,
wordsmith it.
right. And then you can get rid of number 9, Sharon.
Okay. Whoops.
Oh, that's where it was. That was your placeholder. I see it now.
Yeah, but it's up here now.
Yep.
Okay.
So number 8 is basically just saying that this decision in no way negates the original decision of 144. Still, that will remain in effect.
Can I ask a question? In 9A, the word that is underlined, is that supposed to say any, or is that
It's
and?
and.
I have no idea why it got underlined.
Well, it had an R at the end, right?
Yeah.
I think it's too cold. That's why they're trying to bundle up.
So basically what this is consolidating and comprising of is that basically the special permit is no longer applicable really, because the fact that originally when this was designed on one parcel, it was 3 buildings. Now the fact that parcel 5 to the west has 2 buildings on it, parcel 3 is on its own parcel. So the special permit really is, though it was valid at the time, it's still valid for the phase 1 and 2, unless the applicant chooses to somehow create another special permit, that the special permit is no longer applicable and really doesn't need to be worried about, is A. B is the fact that the common driveway is currently there, it's currently installed, it's servicing basically all 3 parcels, but only 2, or rather 2 parcels, 2 phases, but the 2 phases, phase 1 currently has 2 buildings on it, where phase 3 doesn't, but yet the driveway is on it, but that pretty much, it's basically saying that there's no issue of applicability to the special permit for common drive. The parking reduction, arguably the special permit will expire June 15th of 2024, because upon the coming in and doing the A&R, they reapplied for a special permit, which therefore redistributed the parking requirements or reductions amongst the uses and both parcels. And then lastly, the temporary construction fence, the special permit will expire on January 13th of 2022. But presumably whenever they come back, they'll just reapply for another special permit for an increase in fence. And at that point, we'll have a new building commissioner presumably, and we'll ask him, due to location, due to anything, do they even, we'll talk about the special permit at that point, because is it in a front yard at that point? So that's just kind of a summation of the special permits that were received during the whole site plan review file 144.
I think one thing I want to clarify for 9D, it says special permit will expire January 13, 2022.
Right.
Did it already expire?
Well, it'll be expiring in 3 days.
Well, it's 23.
Oh, 23, that was a typo.
Yeah. So, okay, cool. Okay, that's it. Nice.
All right, any other points that people would like to make? Are we ready to move to a vote?
Is this a 2-year extension?
Yes.
Okay,
All right, would someone like to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to close the.
No, we're making a motion to either approve or deny the
sorry.
site plan review modification. Sorry, Gurninder, I should have.
No.
specified.
Yep, you're right. I'll make a motion to do the voting in this Holyoke Landing for 2 years extension.
Are you moving to approve it?
Yep. Motion to approve it.
Is there a second?
Second,
by roll call vote, Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am, I approve.
Nathan,
yes.
Gernander,
Yes.
and Kate.
Yes.
Okey-dokey.
Sharon, when should I plan to come down for signing things?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow? Okay. Can do.
We're good like that.
All right.
It shouldn't be like, those electronic sign through email.
I think we can move in that direction. I don't know if that's a thing on notice of decisions. I don't know. I've never checked. I could check. Kate, are you prepared to do an electronic signing? If it's allowed?
I could, but
Isn't it nice to come down and see us sometimes?
It's so nice.
I agree. Thank you.
Yes, I agree,
I love it.
especially when you bring Jeff treats.
And go to some, Holyoke lunch establishment for lunch afterwards.
See? There you
Um,
go.
All right. The second item, site plan review for Northampton Street Residential, we've continued. The third item is the zoning text change for multiple principal structures for accessory dwelling units. So shall we discuss at all, anything to discuss before we vote?
One moment, Kate. Sorry, I'm not familiar with the process. Like, so we approved the site plan modification. Do we need to close the item now, or do we just keep moving to the next items?
I think we're done since we voted, yes?
Oh, okay. So we don't need to do a second motion to close. Okay,
No.
Yeah, the public
Okay.
hearing's already closed.
okay, got it.
I'm also still learning the process, Nathan. Like, it's the blind leading the blind here.
So sorry.
So, ADUs. Anything further that we want to discuss before we vote?
I think we did already. It's ready for, vote. I'll make a motion for voting, to approve to voting for ADU.
Right. So you're making a motion to approve the
The verbiage.
zoning text change.
Yeah, zoning text, yep.
Okay. Second?
Second,
By roll call vote, Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Nathan,
yes.
Brinder,
Yes.
and Kate.
Yes. So now this goes to ordinance
Ordinance, yep.
in their meeting in 2 weeks. Okay. And the final item that we have here is zoning text change continued about food trucks, but we've also continued that.
Yep.
So we can hear whether they need more from us. So without further ado, we are on to planning board business. We have determined that we do not need to go into executive session. So the next item is project updates, old business, new business, and Jack is on deck for marijuana reviews.
Jack, can you close out the copy?
I can. All right, they're both closed.
Gotcha. There it is.
Okay, so this first one is for Infused Element LLC, located at 1 Cabot Street. If you're familiar, 1 Cabot Street is the building that houses multiple cannabis tenants. 2 are operational currently, I believe. So they're going to be occupying a portion of this building. This particular project is for about 5,500 square feet. They're strictly product manufacturing. Their primary product they're going to be manufacturing is cannabis infused beverages. We had a pre-application meeting and the Board of Health was present, so internally they're aware of all the food related permits they're going to need, because they're also going to be doing like infused baked goods and then also their own pre-rolled products. They're anticipating a total of 9 employees, but not all 9 would be at the site at the same time. I think they have 4 designated parking spaces, and there's 41 spaces total in the parking lot for the site. And they're kind of in the process of officially divvying up the spaces for the different companies that are locating there. Let's see what else. Not open to the general public. Again, this is just strictly a small scale manufacturing venture. As far as their submittal, this was thankfully another one that was very complete. There were really no missing items. They have their provisional license with the CCC currently. And in terms of my review, these ones are pretty straightforward, especially when they're going into this one Cabot building, because we're seeing they're kind of using a lot of the same resources, like the same architect is working on all these projects. So it's kind of getting a little standardized when it comes to one Cabot Street. So unless you have any questions, that was kind of the review, was essentially just to show that all of the required elements for the special permit were included in the submittal. Oh, you're on mute, Kate.
Infused Elements has all their elements.
What's that?
Infused Elements has all their elements organized here.
Yes,
Right.
they
Yeah,
do.
because they've been doing this for a while. Like he's really been like on point for quite some time now. I've been following him, so I'm not surprised.
So yeah, there really weren't any outstanding issues that needed to be called out. So in my opinion, this should be ready to submit to the ordinance committee for their final review, which I think it's going to be taken up at the meeting in 2 weeks.
Okay, great. So we, I think, need to vote on whether to approve the letter. So.
Yeah, that's the standard practice we've been
Yeah.
doing lately.
Ooh, I'm gonna get to sign this one.
Mhm.
So exciting. So would someone like to make a motion to approve the letter?
I'll make the motion to approve the letter because I read both letter today when he sent me. So I'm okay to move to approve the letter.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
By roll call vote, Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Nathan,
Yes.
Gernander,
Yes.
and Kate.
Yes.
Okay, and
And then the second one, it's another business that's going to be locating at 1 Cabot Street.
Just one question. Are they the same floor or?
No, it's a 3-floor building, so they're spread out.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the next one is for a company called Evergreen Industries LLC. As I said, they'll be at 1 Cabot Street, and this one is strictly cultivation. They'll be occupying roughly 7,600, a 7,600 square foot space in the building. They will not be open to the general public. Their application states that they will only have 2 full-time employees, but then during certain times of the year, they'll be bringing in 2 to 3 additional temporary employees, which I guess is somewhat of a standard practice in the cultivation industry. They said this would happen no more than 3 to 4 times a year, where they'd be bringing on a couple temporary employees. Again, this was a complete submittal, same architect as the previous one, so the plans are pretty standardized at this point. They have 4 dedicated parking spaces for their employees, but again, they're only going to have 2 full-time employees that are going to be there on a regular basis. So I think this brings the total to roughly 6 companies, I think, have at least gotten to this point for 1 Cabot Street. 2 of them, or one of them, is definitely operational, with a couple others getting close to being online. So the building is starting to fill out.
Just a question.
Yep.
7,600 square foot, and it's only 2 full-time employee. What is it, like small scale industry?
Yeah, they're a tier 1 cultivator. Like that's the state, so that's the smallest level at the state. They're only allowed a maximum 5,000 square foot canopy of grow space, and they won't be approaching that. So yeah, this is small scale kind of craft cultivation, I guess you would call it.
Okay. Thank you.
Right. If no one has any questions, we could move to approve the letter.
I guess I'll make the motion to approve the letter.
You know, a
I'll
second?
that.
Who was the second?
Me,
Fernando.
By roll call vote,
Bernd.
Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Nathan,
Yes.
Gernander,
yes.
and Kate.
Yes.
Okay.
The
Yeah,
next item,
they'll be sent- Oh, I was-
go ahead.
so, yeah, they'll be going to the ordinance committee once you sign them and like,
Hold on, why is? Well, that wasn't me. Okay,
The ghost.
okay. All right.
So our next item is battery storage discussion. So my understanding of this is that we're going to be continuing to talk jointly with ordinance about battery storage at our next meeting, but that there may be some things for us to discuss before then. I don't know. The whole topic of battery storage seems like a huge thing to bite off. And one of my thoughts is, I don't know whether that this is something that might be useful to have a subcommittee to work on, to hash out some language. I don't know, Jeff, you want to?
Well, I mean, for what it's worth, yes,
Yes.
I would love if I could have a board member or two to work on this with staff. Because at that point also, that person will become knowledgeable enough to be able to help promote this when we eventually speak to the council. You know, I mean, at this point, we've been given a draft, which was the Jeannie had put together a basic document modeling it after solar, but I think that there could be other avenues to take that might be less shorter, however you want to say that. You know, I think if we could create a little subcommittee just to talk about this, I could also bring John Zwerko in, who was, you know, who's also a champion of this from the G&E side. And, you know, yeah, so if there was a way that we could work on this on the side so we can eventually present something to the council, I think it'd be an easier sell, if that makes sense.
Is there anybody who has an interest in learning all there is to know about battery storage and being part of a subcommittee?
I have no interest in learning, but I don't mind being part of the subcommittee if need be. I'm just being honest. I could.
There you go. You got a volunteer.
I don't mind doing it. I like to learn stuff.
Okay.
You could take two people if two people were interested.
Right, as long as
Determine the
it's
time.
kind of.
Nathan, you want to come roll with me? 'Cause
Huh?
you always have
I
a
am
good
interested,
question.
but my fear is it might be too much time. I don't know how much time, because I'm already in the CPA committee. So, I mean, why do you think, Jeff, how much time or
It
meetings?
shouldn't be
think
that
we
much
go-
time.
Well, I mean, at this point, I mean, it could be a couple hours over, you know, I know that like when myself and Kate were working on the ADU stuff, I think we zoomed in at that point for probably what was a total of, dare I say, 6 hours of total discussion on it, maybe, or is it even that much? Maybe I'm being
No, it
over
was less than that for
4
sure.
hours total, maybe. You
Yeah.
know?
But between reading and talking about it, yeah.
Right.
And I mean, battery storage may or may not be more complicated, but
Right. If anything, I think the approach with it is, because it's going to end up being a necessary evil in 10 years, 20 years. It's one of those things where to look at it more, you know, leave the technical stuff to the gas and electric, but this is more going to be like a minor site plan review of sorts. So
That's what I
I think
thought.
that's another way to look at it. You know, basically, we're going to try to site this in the best way in a neighborhood so that it's not going to be obnoxious, noisy, obtrusive, or
That's
any
what I
other word you could, you know, negative adjective you could put towards it. So, I mean, I think that's a better approach, and then have, you know, John Zwerko, you know, get the more industry standard language into it. But from our perspective, it's more or less just a number 7 in our 10.1.2 applicability site plan review. battery storage facilities, and then just give it a small write-up with, making sure that the technical stuff is there. So, it shouldn't be that much of a time draw on anyone, I don't think.
Okay, and it'll probably happen, the meetings will happen during the day, right? Work day?
Well, presumably, yeah, I mean, like last time, I think myself and Kay, I think it was all Zoom, or maybe, I don't know if there was ever a time where you came in, but I think it was all Zoom, I think.
Okay, yeah, I mean, I'll sign up. Yeah, I'll sign up. I think if it's, I mean, obviously it's how happen during the day. I'll just have to make time during my day job, shift things a little. But yeah,
And I mean, there might be a way that you all can divide the work. Like, there might be certain areas of research that can be shared.
I
between
mean,
you.
I wonder, well, I guess in Massachusetts is your special jewel, but I wonder if there's already existing some kind of state standard template language. Probably no such thing, right? For this, or
Well-
you can just copy it from an existing well-established ordinance in some other city.
That's true. Like I said, I think one of the first approaches would be like, I'll reach out to John Zwerko from Gas and Electric, and I'll see if he's got any of that, because I would think, being the Gas and Electric, they would, and knowing that they're gonna be a future promoter or user of these, or one that strives to get them into the neighborhoods, presumably. I would think that he would have some of that information already, I would hope. I know that several months ago, I gave you something from the National Fire Prevention Association, NFPA, which was, honestly, it was more of a negative document, but it was other things to be cautious or wary of. So, even though it might look negative, it's still, you could use it in a positive manner to make sure that those things are addressed. And I did provide, I can re-provide that again as well.
Okay.
So at this point, is this gonna be a tag team between Rosanna and Nathan, or is this just Nathan?
It sounds, I mean, it seems like the fact that they're both willing, I think
Okay.
that's great, because
Absolutely, yeah, I
there
just
may
wanted, I
be-
wasn't sure if one was, if, okay,
there may be
So-
different areas of research, I don't know, so.
yeah. Or, and if anything, just a second set of eyes as we draft forward will be helpful.
I think that's
Mhm.
great.
Yeah,
Thank you both very much.
So I'll try pulling some stuff together, and I'll get you both something by week's end as far as just materials to start looking at. And then maybe next week sometime we can zoom in and look at what we've got and see how we want to move forward with it.
okay.
Okay? Is there any better time for Zoom meetings that are good for, obviously both of yous? What works, what time frames work better? Mornings, afternoons, midday?
My tax season is starting, so if you can figure it out through Nathan, and I'll just block that time,
Okay.
as long as I have advance notice.
I have, I have regular meetings for work, very, very frequently, but I have it on Tuesday, 11 or 10. But so basically, like Tuesday mornings will probably have some interference, but I think I'm pretty flexible rest
Okay.
of the week and
Okay.
rest of Tuesday. So, except for Tuesday mornings, just whenever
Yeah,
works for
okay.
you.
So I'll see what I can, I'll reach out to the HG&E tomorrow, see what I can get from them, and I'll pull together some materials, forward them to you both. And then I'll kind of look at the calendar and throw out some potential dates and times, and
Right.
we'll see what works.
Right.
And obviously, even the next meeting, which will be January 24th, we probably won't have a draft available then, but at least we'll have some more working knowledge of what these are and how they're gonna work. So that at least when we go to the meeting on the 24th, the board will have some relevant input.
Great. Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
The next item is meeting schedule. Jeff.
So right now, we've got obviously the battery storage continue January 24th. Bay State Sign has now decided to go for the full 80 square feet for its primary sign, and they appear to have no interest in anything smaller on or around the site at this point. On February 14th, we have the site plan review for the Duncan remand, which would arguably be meeting number 2. I've received nothing as of this point. I know last time the board had said when they were scheduled to meet that they wanted at least 30 days notice. Basically 1/14 or this Friday would be the 30 days notice. I've heard nothing else as far as submission of materials. So anyways, that being said, we've also got on the 24th right now scheduled the continuance for the river dance.
We also just,
But sorry.
no, I
Oh,
was
the
gonna say that.
Yeah, project formerly known as River Dance, now Northampton Street Residential. We've got that. on the
Jeff, that's
24th.
not on January 24th,
I thought the board,
February
board just-
14th.
wait, for the River Dance, I thought we just continued that.
Yeah, to the 14th,
The site plan review, yeah, the 14th.
the 14th.
Okay, I thought we
I
said we
take
were gonna
notes.
kick it. What's that? Okay, no, I thought for some reason, I thought I heard that we were kicking it to the 24th because why not? To see if they were
And then
gonna
it,
do
yeah, then
something.
it changed.
Okay, then I must have missed that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's February, that's the 14th now. Okay. So wait, I didn't,
Sorry,
I
that-
thought we were,
That may
Sorry?
have been my mistake. I was meaning to continue it to the 24th, I thought.
so I thought that's what you said, to be honest, because we didn't want to load up the 14th in case we had the remand.
Well, the 14th for the remand is on the calendar.
It is.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But we've got nothing yet. So I thought that, okay, I thought that the board said to the 24th. I could have swore, because we said, hey, why not just put it 2 weeks out?
so do we want to change it?
We can't.
No, okay, oh, my bad.
So what did we say then? Is it
We said
February?
February 14th. I'm sorry.
I want to.
That's what I have in my notes.
I heard
I need
the,
to re-listen to,
I heard the 14th.
see, I
That
heard
was-
the 24th.
And I even repeated it because you have the remand on the 14th and nobody bit. My apologies for not being more clear on, you sure
I'm
you want?
sorry.
I wrote it down. I take notes, like what we're moving
Yeah.
where, so.
No, I believe you, believe me, but I said, I recall saying, we'll just kick it out 2 weeks and see what happens.
I'm sorry, I
will we-
meant to continue it to the 24th, and maybe the fact that they both end in 4, and I was looking at my agenda,
Okay.
got me confused.
Okay.
They
Yeah,
won't have-
sorry,
That's all right. They won't have materials ready anyway, so it's not a bad thing.
probably true.
Jeff believes us, Rosanna. but
Okay,
I can
my
tell
apologies,
he still
everybody.
wants
Absolutely
to
not. I'm gonna be
listen.
listening to that
No, he
tape
don't.
tomorrow
He don't
morning. When
believe
it
us.
says
No, he
the
don't.
cloud is
He
ready,
wanna
I'm
read
gonna
the
be
recording
listening
again.
to it.
Mhm.
Okay.
I think the problem is I was talking about doing it on the 24th, and then I probably said the 14th when we were voting on it. My apologies.
So what did we tell Mr. Fitzgerald?
The 24th.
Yep.
Oh,
The
no.
Hopper that might. Oh, I'm back.
We'll have to reach him and clarify for him.
Yeah, once we listen to the tape again tomorrow morning,
I'm
Sharon,
not,
or the
you, it's all
recording,
you
we'll figure this
listening.
out.
I'm not listening. I'm positive.
Okay.
So, reach out to, James Fitzgerald, right?
Yes. Once we listen to the recording though, just to be sure. Okay, so then February 28th, currently we have nothing.
We have River Dance with a question mark.
Well, but now we decided to move that up to the 24th.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
Or
Yeah,
or
catch
the
that either.
14th. I'm really getting confused. 14th or January 24th or February 14th? Like which day?
Just tell us when it is and we'll be
Yeah.
there.
Yeah, we'll let you know, because we're gonna listen to the recording in the morning.
Yeah.
You see, Rosanna? You
I
see?
believe Rosanna 100%, but I still have to hear it.
Ew.
Not me, though.
No,
Okay.
okay.
Go
So
ahead,
then,
anything else?
okay, yeah, so minutes,
We're close, almost.
3 weeks of, was it 3 weeks of minutes in 30 days? Okay, I'll leave it
Alright.
at that.
That'd be good.
Just one thing, if the meeting February 14, usually I close Tuesday due to the meeting since I'm in the planning board, but it's falling in the Valentine Day, so I might have to open that day. So I'm gonna excuse myself for that day. There's gonna be cooking some scrod français.
Well, just know if you're going to not be available on the 14th and that the remand does come back, you will be excluded from future voting on it.
I'll just call in and listen. Put the headphone.
Okay.
That's fine.
Well, I mean, I think typically to be able to see the materials is probably important. But,
If there's material to see.
oh, true, I agree.
Okay. Other
Should I
business?
move on to other business? I do have something I can present. I don't know if other people have any committee reports.
I had something, but why don't you go ahead, Kate?
You do your thing first.
Well, I don't know if everybody else is aware, but the 474 Pleasant Street, the church that got, I would dare say, spot zoned to BH, it's pending sale for $425,000.
It's sold.
It's sold, yeah. So I think its transfer is happening, but we don't know who the owner is. So I talked
Not
to
sold yet, it's in the process.
yeah,
Is
it's
another-
pending. It's in the process.
is
It's in the
another
process. It's
church.
pending. It's marked pending.
Ecuadorian people is people from Ecuador. I think Ecuador is a
Oh,
church,
okay.
and is another church who's buying that one. So it's not going to be anything else besides church.
Oh, okay, that's not bad. But it's still BH, but so like, I chatted with two land use or real estate attorneys about these kind of cases, and while the state courts look really negatively on like a zoning one parcel to be different from the rest of the surrounding area, like there isn't really a lot of practical recourse. I mean, lawsuits, are really expensive, and it's just unrealistic. So I don't know if this is allowed, but I even thought maybe the planning board can ask for future cases, not this case, for future cases, because I guess the city council has a history of approving spot zones. If we can get a non-binding legal opinion from some other state authority like the land court or somebody, I don't even know if that's allowed, but if we can get some kind of written non-binding opinion about what is the appropriate action to take moving forward for these kind of issues, so at least the city council has some kind of written guidance on this, because I'm pretty sure what they have done, a lot of the ones they've done is in violation of like the MGL about uniform zoning. I think it's like 40 chapter 40A. So it's the fact it's routinely happening is a little concerning for me. So I guess just something I want to bring up. If there is some way to get some kind of non-binding opinion from some authority, it might be helpful, especially since we got a lot of new counselors who are aware of these issues. So that's one thing. And lastly, CPA committee meeting, they're gonna be reviewing applications tomorrow for historic projects, and then the 18th for open space projects. And interestingly, the 474 church, the owner, he has actually applied for CPA funding to renovate the projects, renovate the building for $250,000. But by accident, I think it fell into the junk mail filter of the CPA admin or whoever is the CPA person in charge of the application. So I don't think that person will be presenting tomorrow. But it was one of the applications that came in, although it fell into the wrong place. So that's my report. So, if you can consider that, and that's it. Thank you. Oh,
Maybe thinking about a legal opinion is something we bring up at some point when Jane is here. Does anyone else have any reports? Okay. The thing I was going to report back about was just to try to give you a really quick overview of what I found out about vested rights and non-conforming structures. I sent everyone, I forwarded, you know, through Sharon, the longer document that they gave us explaining the interpretation in Massachusetts and all kinds of case law about it. It seems like a really good resource if we ever have to deal with something like that again. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that you read it because it's a lot, and at least for me, like, I won't remember it until I actually have to apply it. But you have it now. I did find the course interesting. I thought I could try in like 3 minutes to tell you what seemed really interesting, if people still have the brain cells to rub together at this point.
It's almost 5 sometimes. I think we could do this.
Okay. So just the definition I found useful. What's a vested right? The definition they use is a right to use land for a particular structure or use that would be prohibited by the adoption of a new zoning provision. So old zoning allowed it, new zoning doesn't, but you have a vested right because you owned it before. The right is found in Mass General Law 40A Section 6, but it is, as they said, notoriously disputed. So we're into a lot of lawsuits here. But there are also, there's the possibility that you can have local laws that are more permissive than 40A Section 6. They also pointed out that the landowner bears the burden of proving eligibility for protection under a vested right. So that's something that might have been useful to know. There are a couple other things that'll be that, you know, like, oh, that would have been useful to know. It is also important when you're thinking about something to differentiate whether it's a non-conforming use under the use table, a non-conforming structure because it does or doesn't meet zoning regulations for the structure, but there also can be a non-conforming lot, which is what we were talking about when we were talking about the ANR for those 2 buildings downtown, where we weren't sure we could separate it because it didn't have the right setback. So there are a number of different ways something could be non-conforming. So what does the Zoning Act say about the ways that vesting happens? So to qualify to be counted as vested, an existing structure or use has to predate the first public notice of the hearing on a zoning change. So like your pre-existing use has to be before there's ever been notice of the upcoming hearing. So it can't be like, oh, they noticed that we're going to change the zoning, so now you go do your thing before the zoning change happens. No, it has to predate the first public notice. A planned, so that's for an existing structure or use. If something's planned, a planned structure or a planned use has to hold a permit before that first public hearing. But they have to start using it. It can't just be planned forever. You have to actually start doing the use or the structure within 12 months to keep the vested right. There are a bunch of other like, oh, you could get a freeze if this or the, but it like that gets way into the weeds. There's also a bunch of state law about when, if something was done illegally, but there's no enforcement action taken against it, it gains vested rights if it never never against. It's generally 10 years, but there's a whole bunch of detail about that too. Can non-conforming uses be changed and still retain their protection? This is kind of like, remember when Capri Pizza wanted to expand, like, and their old building didn't meet BH zoning, but they weren't allowed to expand that nonconformity. That's like this case, right? So there are a whole bunch of different rules or tests. It's in the document, but basically it's easier for a single family dwelling or a 2-family dwelling to expand a little bit than it is for anything else. But the regulations are all in there. basically, one or two family homes that are lawfully non-conforming can be modified as long as they don't increase the non-conformity. Any other building, other types of structures have to go through tests no matter what the change is, even if it's not a change about the non-conformity. But all the details about that are in the packet. How the section 6, how that's figured out is governed by local zoning. In Holyoke, our ordinance, as I looked at it after I went through the class, it looks like our ordinance gives most of those powers to the city council. Not surprisingly. The court recommends that local ordinance define a bunch of things that aren't defined in our ordinance, unfortunately. But a lot of the determination of whether something fits or not, about whether it would be a detrimental change, is given to the building commissioner. So there are regulations about who gets to make decisions, but it seems like the way our ordinance is written, we're mostly left out of that. So I remember when it came up about the auto body repair shop in the residential district, there was the whole question about like who gets to decide if this is non-conforming or not. I think there are a lot of ways that the decision there was made problematic that we could go through, but it does seem like the city council gets a lot of the determination. What can cause the termination of a vested right? So if somebody intentionally abandons it, like they write something that says, I'm going to stop doing this thing, then the vested right goes away. Non-use for 2 years. So we talked about that when we dealt with that project, 41 Temple Street.
Yep.
It says that 2 years has to be included in local ordinance, and I looked in our local ordinance, it is in there. So the 2-year rule does hold for Holyoke. In some cases, so your vested right terminates if you haven't used it for 2 years, or if you haven't said you're going to give up the right. So that's like,
Is there like a thin line between like use? Like, how do you, like, cause someone, I don't know, like you could say you haven't been
has-
using it, but I visited last week.
has to be
Make
like
sure the lights were on.
substantially the same use going on actively. Like
Okay,
it's pretty clear that like you couldn't say you were still using it as an automobile repair shop as if you were just like, you know, had your dog there guarding the property. That wouldn't
Okay.
count.
okay.
So there's a lot more technicality in the handout, but that was the basic stuff.
I know I was gonna print it out, but I saw all those pages. I was like, I'll wait.
Yeah, don't worry, just keep, you know, like have it on your hard drive. So if this comes up again, because there's all kinds of really interested, because as
Yes.
they said, it's notoriously disputed. There's lots of case law. And so there in that handout, there's a lot of like, well, in this case, they decided X, Y, and Z because, and so it seems like a really useful
I'm
resource.
just a paper girl. I'm gonna print it out eventually, but
Yeah. Yeah, and the workshop was super helpful, and honestly, reviewing it afterwards made it all make a lot more sense, so. That's
did
my
anyone else
report.
take that open law thing that I took it today. It was very interesting.
I did
I
it a
learned a
year or
lot.
so ago.
It was.
It was very interesting because there's things there that I'm like, oh, we don't do that. Oh,
So,
we should be doing
Rosanna,
that.
Save me from having to re-listen to it. Did you hear about the posting of the agenda? Were you paying attention at that
Yes,
point?
it has to be posted. Yes.
Correct.
publicly.
Did you hear that if you've already posted it and it's before the 48 hours, you can make a change? If it's after the 48 hours, you could still make a change, but you have to note when the first notice was posted and then the second notice. For only matters that are unexpected, not, oops, we forgot to put it on.
Yes, yes. So she can, I had everything translated in thing, and I saved the transcript, so I can send that to you, because they were going really fast.
They were.
So,
they
and I'm
were.
a person, like, I like to take notes. So I'm like, what the heck is going on?
There
So
was-
I
was
I
there.
did all the transcript. I printed it. So I'll send that to you via
I was
email,
there,
because
Jana.
everything she says is on
Yeah.
there.
They was
Gotcha.
going very fast. You're right about that because I was there, didn't even like have a chance to chat with them or ask question, anything. Their chat was blocked, So
Yeah, you can ask questions, but you couldn't see people's questions. So as they're answering them, it's like they're doing it really fast. But I'm gonna get it for you, right? It's on my other computer. I
Okay.
saved it. I'm gonna email it to you.
Yeah, because I just wanted to verify that piece, because I thought we could never, once it's been past the 48 hours, that we couldn't change that agenda. So that was a real surprise to me. So. Okay. That's it.
All right, well, we have come to the end of our agenda unless anybody has any other business. Wow, in under 2 hours.
Thank you, Jeff.
Can I have a motion to adjourn?
so move.
Oh,
There's-
second.
Yeah, I'll make the motion to adjourn the meeting within
And-
less than 2 hour. Good night.
And Nathan seconds.
Yeah.
Second, yes.
And by roll call vote, Rosanna,
Yes, ma'am.
Nathan,
Yes.
Gernander,
Yes.
and Kate.
Yes.
And that meeting also said you have to do roll call vote. I don't think you get to like vote at the beginning of your meeting that we are not doing roll call vote.
Yes, you're right.
So someone is not doing that piece accurately. That's all I'm saying.
Well, thank you everyone for putting up with my chairing of the meeting. It's a learning experience
I love it.
and we'll see you all.
You know, I
if not
just want,
before.
Kate, any objection? I know that Glenn Sullivan's been on for a little while, just in
Oh.
case he couldn't raise his hand or anything. Glenn, did you have any question for the board? I just gave him co-host ability so he can ask a question.
He texted me.
I'm
that
good,
he-
thank you.
Okay,
Thanks,
you're
Glenn.
welcome. All right. Have a good one.
Thank you.
Yep.
Bye, everybody.
Good
Good
night.
night.
Oh.